Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to Breeders' Crown Week. Yes, we are just a few days away from the first of two finals. We're going to kick off with the rookies on Friday night with 4 Breeders' Crown finals. We're going to go with the 3-year-olds and up on Saturday, which is going to contest of 8 finals. So I'm here alongside my co-host, the Hall of Famer, Randy Waples. And Randy, we had a chance to enjoy 2 nights of Breeders' Crown eliminations, and how much fun did we have on the weekend?
Oh, it was, yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of fun, Unfortunately, Friday night we got a little bit of rain. That kind of dampened things a little bit, but Saturday was good to go. But even on the Friday with the rain, we still had great racing. We're very lucky, this weekend is setting up amazing.
A big time. I know the weather didn't dampen our spirits and certainly didn't dampen the performances of some of the rookies that we saw on Friday night, because we really did see some sensational performances, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about that. Everybody's going to have their favorites, leaning a little bit more towards one horse than another. But we got like 4 or 5 coming in here that they're going to be real tough to beat. But then the other divisions, though, I think that they're kind of wide open. I think that we're really lucky, John. Yes, we're going to have our favorites and our standouts and our superstars, but like I said, only I think in a couple of divisions, then the rest of it, boy, we got some good racing on our way.
I know that some horses are probably elevating themselves as maybe the top of the division, and I'm speaking mostly of that 3-year-old colt trot, right? Motocon Legacy seems to be the now horse, but that's still a really good group of sophomore trotting colts, Randy. And speaking of which, we also have a pretty wide open group there in that open pace. Again, a couple of them really stand out, but I tell you what, we're going to get a chance to see those 2 get drawn at a live draw tomorrow night. So obviously, if you can, join us. It's going to be a great night. And I think everybody's going to be waiting to see where their superstars draw. So those 2 are wide open as well, but we're going to see kind of how things shake out tomorrow night. But we've got a lot to cover here on this preview show, Randy. Let's kick things off right away here. We're going to go to the rookie trotters on the colt side, and here's the field of 10 that's going to be going postward on Friday night. And most notably, Randy, we're going to get a chance to look at Apex yet again, who received a bye into the Breeders' Crown Final after capturing the Peter Houghton at Hoosier Park. We're going to get a chance to see a couple of elimination winners as well, who also draw just to his outside there. Spencer Hanover as well as Diabolic Hill. How good were those 2 colts in their elimination performances?
Well, it's unfortunate for me, John, because I fell in love with Apex after the Mohawk Million. And now, after this elimination, I fall in love with Diabolic Hill. What am I going to do? So let's start this all over again, John. Let's take a look at the Mohawk Million.
Yeah, and we got a chance to see a handful of colts who we got to see on Breeders' Crown weekend as well. And we're going to get a chance to see Apex here in his Mohawk Million performance. Look, this was his 4th consecutive week competing, Randy, and he earned it with a tough first over grind, and he wanted to get there, and you could see the desire and the speed that this colt showcased.
Yeah, really, like a huge throwdown. That's we got to make sure that they know that this horse that he's going by right now, this Endurance, pretty nice colt there himself. Really nice colt too. So really did it the tough way, but in my opinion, he was the best horse. Now, unfortunately, I got to take this guy and try to figure out a way to see if he's going to still be able to beat out the other horse that I fell in love with, which is Diabolic Hill.
Yeah, he's going to be coming into this race really sharp. He had a qualifying effort on Friday. Because he did receive a bye, he didn't participate in that elimination, but we got a chance to see him qualify here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, and he put forth a good showing. So he'll be good to go in the final, but that's one Marcus Melander trainee, but we're going to focus on another Marcus Melander trainee and how good was his effort, Randy, in his elimination. One that we kind of spoke about, saying that maybe he was a little bit overbet, but this is a well-bred son of Chapter 7. He had a trotting hopples 2 starts prior to his elimination. That piece of equipment has really seemed to help him keep it together, and he's had the speed to follow through with it as well.
He did. No doubt about it. He was tripped out by Jason, but he did everything right. I think that the big thing that we're seeing with Spencer Hanover is a horse that was lightly raced earlier on, and now he's really coming into his season. So Apex and Diabolic Hill, who've been going a long time, obviously they're going to have their game face on, because this guy, like I said, he's coming into the back half of the season, really sharp. So we got 3 real Cracker Jacks, and then we got like about another 7 there that can beat the 3 Cracker Jacks. So really good division.
And the 3 top contenders that we get a chance to see in that 2-year-old rookie colt trot, we are going to look at Diabolic Hill, who you and I both really liked. And I know we didn't focus on him in that Mohawk Million replay, but if you watch it over again, he had the 9-hole, never saw a set of pylons, and continued to trot forward. This time he got things his own way, but it didn't matter. He was tons the best. And look at the body language of the colt as well as Todd McCarthy.
I think that he's better this night than he was in the Mohawk Million, and I agree with you. He went a big trip, but the body language, everything about it to me is a better. Like, he got a little bit of a break there, and I think that Annie Stobie's got this guy just absolutely on his game right now.
For me, I've never seen a maturation process this quickly with a young trotting colt as well. I mean, he took the division by storm early on, showed some greenness, Randy, but he had the speed to go with it. And as the season progressed, we saw a little bit of gate issues, right? I mean, he was running halfway down the lane, looked like he was fumbly gated. Annie did make a shoeing change ahead of that Mohawk Million. She went from aluminum to steel. It seems like that shoeing change has worked wonders.
Yeah, well, aluminums are they're a fast shoe and they're a nice shoe, but they can be hard on horses too. And then they go back to a steel, even though the speed's not there, they're more comfortable. And then they end up, looking like he did the other night. So everything that she's done so far, I think, with Diabolic Hill has been spot on. Now it's going to come down to the tail of the tape. Is he going to be good enough to beat Apex and Spencer Hanover?
And Todd McCarthy got a chance to baby race him for his very first try, and he got a chance to pick him up in a pari-mutuel start in the Mohawk Million. And since then, I think these two have been quite the match. So that's our look on the 2-year-old colt trot there for the Breeders' Crown Final. And we're going to look at some other divisions momentarily as well. Speaking of which, we are going to continue things here with the 2-year-old filly trot. And we've got a field of 10 going postward here. And we just spoke about some Marcus Melander trainees. And he's got a pair of fillies here that are going to partake in this elimination. A trio of fillies, I should say. That's a couple of which draw pretty well and one of which draws on the outside. But we're going to focus here on one of them who we didn't get a chance to see over the course of the weekend, Randy, and that's Atlantic Summer, who earned a bye, capturing the Jim Doherty Memorial at Hoosier Park. And we're going to get a chance to see her effort at Hoosier Park. And it was a tough trip, and she was a filly who really, really needed some racetrack, especially late in the stretch. But this is one that Burke's going to send out that's fairly talented as well.
Yeah, I would have to say there, Burke is so loaded. I mean, he's had a big stable for a lot of years. He's had a lot of good horses, John, but just seems like it's a perfect storm in the Burke brigade right now. Just so many good horses. And as you can see, Atlantic Summer here, as John was alluding, we didn't get to see her in the eliminations, but we are going to get to see her in the final after that bye, and comes up with a huge effort in this one to get the job done. So Atlantic Summer gutted it right to the end.
You never knew if she was going to find a seam late. Again, Hoosier Park got rid of their passing lane this year. And Atlantic Summer just able to find room late up the inside to eke out Lainey W., who's going to start from the rail in this same division. So, again, she's got to be feeling pretty good there. And what's a fairly wide open race as well.
Yeah, what kind of gets me is, as hard of a hold as Ronnie had on her different times, you know what I mean? Like, she could have called it off, but she didn't. She kept wanting to be a racehorse, and she gutted it out, got that nose up in the final, even with a very little bit of room to work with. You
know what? We were focusing on one Marcus Melander trainee there in one of the eliminations, actually two of which in separate elims were the focus point with Nezuko Kamado, as well as Set Your Sights High. But Set Your Sights High, she was the favorite here in this elimination, Randy, and you like Southwind Shaska, who's cutting this mile. She had things her own way. She didn't have as much pop as we're accustomed to, but who we're going to be focusing on is that 2-horse Storybook Love, a local filly here that we got a chance to see here kick off her career, but she's done most of her racing in New York, and what a sweet trip and a sweet story here for Todd Ratchford and Matthew Bax.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, though, she nothing was overdone with her earlier on in the year, so she's just probably coming into her own right now. Now, I also heard a couple of rumors there that a few of the Ronnie Burke horses there scoped a little bit dirty, after the elimination nights there. So a few of those could be a little bit better too. But I'll tell you, Storybook Love, not only did he give her a perfect trip, not only does Matt have her right on her toes, but she's got a big kick on the end of it. And I think that with that kick there, she could just about take anybody down.
And Storybook Love, she's been put in play in perfect positions by Todd Ratchford all season long and just hasn't been able to get the job done in a handful of those tries, but not because because of bad trips. Just, simply put, that's a pretty good filly trot division that we're going to get a chance to look at. And one of the fillies that she's been chasing as well is the other elimination winner that we're going to get a chance to see, and that's Nezuko Kamado. And I mean, this daughter of Chapter 7, again, she's done some really, really nice things this year. And again, she had some miscues early on this season, Randy. She added the trotting hopples, and it seemed to make a world of a difference. Another Marcus Melander trainee adding that set of equipment, that's been a big, big help. And look at her from the far outside. I never thought she would get there at the head of the lane.
No, me neither. And boy, does she ever start to march. But I'll tell you, this kid's so dangerous here. Scotty Z, one of our top drivers here. I said to you before this, he used to come from way out of the clouds all the time. And look at this time. At no point did he ever raise a whip or chase this horse. He knew at the head of the lane he was going to get there. Big, big effort. And look at the run out on her too. Just really, really looking good in there.
You could hear Marcus Melander say in the interview, he just was focusing on, as long as they make it top 5, I'm going to be okay, because the highest money earner is going to, make that final, the highest 5th place finisher. And she had the most money made out of all of them. So, I mean, for her, she didn't pick up 5th. She picked up a lot more, and she's going to come into that final, to me, as the one to beat, because that elimination performance, again, was sensational.
Yeah, she's going to be really tough, and, a lot of it's just going to come down to who gets the best trip. But, Scotty Money and a talented filly, that's a bad combination if you're playing against them.
Absolutely, and he's got a pretty live lineup as well going into this Breeders' Crown weekend. We're going to focus here on the 2-year-old filly pace division, Randy, and there's one filly in particular that has caught a lot of attention early on this season, and she's continued to be more dominating as start after start, and that's the Burke homebred, Lua Deepa. And, again, she was sensational in her elimination, and she made a few moves in that winning effort.
She did. Yeah, she made she made the moves that she had to make. Simple as that. I think that we're looking at a creature with this 2-year-old Payson filly, much the same as what we're looking at in the 2-year-old Payson Colts with Bojangles. Just, two unbelievably athletic horses there that came along in the same generation. So, let's take a look at Lua Deepa.
Yeah, we will take a look at Lua Deepa momentarily, but we're going to take a look at another Ron Burke trainee here in Seaside Shuffle, and we're going to look at her Ohio Sire Stakes victory, Randy. And this was also a gutsy effort by this filly.
Yeah, raced very, very good too. And the other Burke filly too that was in there, we're not going to really talk much about her, but she's a bulldog. She's a bulldog.
Yep.
I'll tell you that filly, she's got wheels. You know what I mean? And I think that the Burkes are, still pretty sure that she might be one of the best ones that they have.
Yeah, this was a game effort there, right? She was just able to eke out to another rival on the outside there, and Ronnie Wren Jr. just working on a picture-perfect trip, but those were some quick panels that she had to chase, but she was able to prevail there. Another tight photo finish victory for Ronnie Wren there, who has put some horses in some pretty good spots. And speaking of which, it doesn't seem to matter where Ronnie Wren puts this star filly, Lua Deepa, because she's got some gears, Randy, and we saw her on Friday night. I mean, she made a few moves. We might see her at the head of the lane here now, but she was used a few times earlier on in that mile, and look at the hold that he still has on her despite those moves early and what she has left.
Yeah, no doubt about that. She's going to sicken a lot of these 2-year-old fillies, Some of them are probably, champions in their own right or standouts or whatever, but if they got to just keep chasing this filly and chasing this filly, she's going to sicken a lot of horses by the time she's over and done with. There's absolutely no end to her, I'm not 100% sure if there's any 2-year-old Payson Colts out there that can beat Bojangles. And I'm not 100% sure, John, if there's not a 2-year-old Payson filly out there that could beat Bojangles. And that's nothing against Bojangles, because I'm a huge fan. But boy, oh boy, she brings a lot.
Yeah, she really has. And again, I mean, it's hard to imagine that she's actually lost 3 times this year. I mean, given what we've seen from her over her last few tries, I mean, the margin of victory has been strong. And I mean, this filly's put forth some great body language. And we saw the full sister, looks good in Lulu. She's had a nice campaign, but Lua Deepa, she looks like she could be a special filly for Team Burke. And we spoke about some matchups earlier on over the weekend, Randy. I mean, all the talk is going to be on that local star that we get a chance to see yet again in that Breeders' Crown final, and we're going to get a chance to see him put his perfect streak on the line. He's a perfect 11 for 11 going into that Breeders' Crown final, Randy, but he might have a bit of a tough test. This might be his toughest test to date, at least I think it is, because the horse starting from the 2-hole, Brandon Boulevard, an Andrew Harris trainee, he did some great things in Kentucky. And he put forth a really strong performance in his elimination victory. 148-4 was the final clocking.
Yeah, and then then you bring into the fact that of Bojangles' biggest competition potentially could be Brandon Boulevard, and then if you're going to pick any driver in North America that you're going to have to race against, it's going to be Dexter Dunn, and that's a tough pill to swallow too. So I'm sure that Doc Moore, I'm sure that he watched this race pretty intently there. He had one in there anyway, but I'm sure that he was looking at it and seeing what was going on there, and like I said, right now that's a tough combination as well. Harris, Dunn, and Brandon Boulevard.
Look, I know all the talk is about Bojangles, and he's definitely the colt to beat going into this final. But I tell you what, Brandon Boulevard, he didn't do much traveling, right? He was eligible to the Metro. They opted to just continue racing him in Kentucky, and Andrew Harris didn't want to kind of overdo his schedule, right? They kept him in Kentucky, where he had a lot of success, was able to capture or finish a narrow second in that Kentucky Sire Stakes final, but ever since Dexter Dunn has been aboard, a perfect 3 for 3. And you have to imagine that he's going to be able to put him in a pretty good spot in the final. But this guy is going to be the one to beat Randy. And he made it win number 11, a perfect 11 for 11 in his rookie campaign. And this son of Cattle Wash is going to look to keep his perfect record intact in the final, in what's going to be his final start of the year. But I tell you what, he just looks better and better.
So many weapons.
Yep.
How can one horse be born with that many weapons? He's like a perfect storm himself. He's perfect gated, perfect size, perfect conformation, perfect attitude, and he's littered with speed. I mean, just an incredible, incredible horse. And you know something? It is such a thrill in a way to walk out there after this horse has raced and talk to Bobby McClure. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like he doesn't even realize yet just exactly what it is that he's seeing, And I mean, but you're talking a guy that's won a lot of big races, drove a lot of horses, you know what I mean? And even he is completely mesmerized by this guy.
And you know what? As good as he's been, this is going to be his toughest test, as we mentioned. And, if you look at the draw, things aren't going to be easy. Brandon Boulevard starts from post 2, Randy, and look at 3 Burke trainees, Melillo, Al Papi, and Frantic Hanover drawing all the way to his inside. So while Bobby does have a good post to work with, because post 6 is the winningest post here, you've got a lot of speed to your inside. So things are going to get a little bit, maybe Western right off the gate. So I'm curious to see how Bobby's going to maneuver that as soon as the wings unfold.
Going to reach into the rawless tickle trunk there. Who was the 7 horse in the first division that was flying hard on the end of it? Would that be Milo?
Yeah, Melillo, yeah.
Melillo? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked pretty good in there, too,
really
on
did.
the end of it there.
He was the
as well.
sharpest of the Burke trainees for sure. I thought in that elimination, right? He had the
no
most
doubt
pace
about
on
that.
the end of it.
Yeah,
But
really flashed it.
This is a race that I'm really looking forward to, and I think we all are looking forward to this 2-year-old colt pace final for the Breeders' Crown. We've got a couple of superstars on display and a lot at stake as well. We're going to move on here to the older aged mare trot, and we didn't get a limbs for this one, but we are going to go straight to the final here, and we've got a nice group of 9 going postward here, Randy, and we're going to get a chance to see a pair of Luke Blade trainees in Drawn Impression, as well as Emoji Hanover, but we're also going to get a chance to see Lista Hanover as well, who I think is probably the sharpest filly coming into this race. But another sharp filly coming into this, sharp mare, I should say, coming into this race is the 5-horse Date Night Hanover, and she's put forth some very, very strong efforts as of late, and we're going to get a chance to see her victory in Lexington and what was a nice score here, a game score.
Yeah, no doubt about it there, down at the Red Mile and coming up with a big effort. Going to take a bit of exception to what you said, John. And this is just my opinion. I'm not going to say that Date Night Hanover is carrying the best momentum going into here, because I think that there's another one that is really stoke things up this season and has a ton of back class to rely on, and that's Eminem's Dream. Mm-hmm. I think she is racing incredibly good this year.
Yeah, she's coming off a couple victories at Hoosier Park. Again, not sure if the shoes were pulled in those tries, but we know how good she is when she races barefoot, and we've seen her put forth a string of victories. She's definitely going to be one of the main contenders. And as I mentioned, Elisa Hanover, who we got a chance to see qualify in 51 and change over at Woodbine Mohawk Park. I'm sure that Annie Stolby would have loved to have an overnight, under her back pocket there, going into that Breeders' Crown final. But I thought that qualifying effort was a good one, right? That's enough. It looked like the mare took a little bit of a hold of David, though. I don't think David maybe wanted to go as quick as that mile went, but she looks like she's been a little bit grabby as of late. But I tell you what, the talent is there. She's a gorgeous individual as well, a daughter of international money. And I tell you what,
Versatile.
she's elevated her game even as an aged mare.
And very versatile. She
big
can
time.
chop. She can, and if she races from out of it, she always has a huge move on the end of it. There, going to be a real good throwdown. We didn't even get the chance to talk about the determination fillies or mares, and they're coming in here really sharp
As
too.
well as Warrior Michelle, who
Warrior
merits a
Michelle.
lot of respect as well. This is going to be a nice final here as we go postward for the open mare trot. We're going to get a chance to see another superstar in action, Randy, and we're going to get a chance to see Twin B Joe Fresh, who is going to come into this open mare pace fresh off a winning qualifying score. And Patrick Ryder was able to do the driving duties there on Saturday morning at the Meadowlands. But we're going to see another head-to-head matchup between her as well as Sylvia Hanover. Sylvia Hanover, we did get a chance to see race here at Woodbine Mohawk Park in an overnight prep race there, Randy. Things didn't really go her way, but, I mean, we know that she's capable of a major bounce back.
Oh, for sure. She's been doing this her whole career. You know, maybe once in a while the trip doesn't work out and she's able to come back even stronger. So I just throw that behind it and just, what do we always say? Just put a line through it. You know, the one that I'm kind of interested, well, you know, obviously the 5 and the 1 are going to take a lot of looks in there, but the 2 horse, Kobe's Gigi, she raced up here, you know, maybe 3 weeks ago or whatever. And my goodness, she was a locked in, just running up over top of horses there. So, you know, with a good draw, you know, maybe she might be able to make a little bit of noise too. But right now it seems like the whole ball is in Twin B Joe Fresh's court.
And we're going to get a chance to see her effort in the Dayton Distaff Derby, Randy, and you could see a dominant score here. And she seems to just be getting sharper with each and every start. She had a bit of a lull period there where maybe she didn't look like herself, but Sylvia Hanover was racing really well in some of those efforts. But to me, this mare looks like she's all the way back.
Yeah, she is. I mean, it's going to be unfortunate because you're going to see it's going to turn from a 1-horse race to all of a sudden Sylvia, she wakes up and she turns it into a race again, but it's going to be way too late, you know, on a 5/8 mile track. And that's kind of the problem that you kind of get into sometimes with Sylvia, is that she leaves too much for the end of it, too much ground to make up, you know. So hopefully, you know, with the 5-hole and with Twin B Joe Fresh having the rail, maybe she might be able to get out of there this week and maybe have, you know, sit on Twin B Joe Fresh's back or stay a little bit closer.
Yeah, and she's obviously loves racing on Canadian soil, does Twin B Joe Fresh, and she's going to look to add another Breeders' Crown to her resume. We're going to move on to a division that I'm excited to see here go postward in the final, the 3-year-old filly trot. And it's funny how this division has kind of shaked out this year, Randy. I think coming into it, a lot of eyes were on What A Bit Hanover, who we're not going to get a chance to see here in this final. She's hit a little bit of a lull period. She's had some hiccups to deal with in her sophomore campaign, but there's a couple of fillies who have seemed to elevate their game. One in particular who has really started to peak at the right time. Yo Tilly has been sensational this year for trainer Andrew Harris. But the filly I'm talking about that seems to be peaking at the right time is a Lucas Wallen trainee by the name of Delaney Hanover, who's coming off a victory in her elimination, and that makes it 4 consecutive victories for this sophomore trotting filly. And look, she wasn't in the best of spots turning for home, but she had some pace to set up in front of her, and this filly's late speed really just proved to be the difference.
Yeah, you know, when they want to win, they seem to be able to find a way to win. And, you know, is she got the best athleticism coming into this? I would say yeah, but I'll tell you what she does have for sure, John, and that's she's got the most confidence. You know, 4 wins in a row, and look at the way she's doing it again with this Scotty Z. You know what I mean? Timing it absolutely, just like Chad said, timing it perfectly to the wire.
And you know, she was racing barefoot in Lexington in a couple of those efforts, and she could zip off the gate nicely. She was racing really, really well. It just seems like when the shoes are pulled with some of these fillies, especially the ones that come from the U.S., they find a little bit more. Her gait's not the same when the shoes are on. I have to envision that the shoes were on in that elimination performance, and you could see right off the car, Scott couldn't zip her out of there, and she didn't look as sharp gate-wise off the car again, but her talent and her speed really prevailed. But if they pull the shoes, we could see an even different dimension from her on Saturday night.
Yeah, John was actually very kind to me on Saturday night there, because he spilled all that information to me about 3 steps out of the gate when I had What A Bit up on top. You know, she's a little funny on leaving the gate when she's got shoes on. Thanks, John.
Yeah, just the perks of watching them at the Meadowlands as well in person. But we're going to move on to another sharp filly in Yo Tilly. I mean, how sharp has this filly been, Randy? Just one lone lone loss in her sophomore campaign. That came to Delaney Hanover in Lexington, but she got right back into the win column here, missing a few weeks coming to this elim, and this is the race that Andrew Harris and company have really pointed this filly towards.
Yeah, she really looks like she's going to be a tough one to take down again in here. Speed to burn. And you know something, I think that Andrew Harris is really setting himself up for a fantastic Breeders' Crown. Even if, I don't know how many wins he's going to look at it, but he's going to have some big efforts. And speaking of a big effort, what about Stormont Beautiful still throwing them down, finishing second to arguably the best 3-year-old trotting filly in North America?
Some people were saying that, looked like Bob McClure kind of just wrapped her up because he knew she wasn't going to get there. I don't think that was the case. I mean, she gets into gear so quickly, Randy. She put in a few steps. Bob did a great job just keeping her together and grabbed her up and said, okay, we're not taking any chances, especially with the supplement. Let's just get to the final and let's see where we draw and let's see if we can make some noise.
That's what I kind of think there too. I just don't think the legs were moving fast enough for that 51 speed. And he had to gather her back up and just get her to the wire. But when they get there as fast as she did, all that's going to do is make her that much stronger. Now 51 isn't an unreachable kind of a number. So maybe it was a little bit tough on her this time. She's been there now. Next time, it's not going to be any problem whatsoever.
Delaney Hanover, Yo Tilly, those two will be the focus going into that final. But there's a couple other fillies, a few of them at least, that I think can play the role of upsetter if the pace scenario sets up. We're going to go to the open trot here for these aged trotters, and we're going to see a field of 10 go postward here, Randy, and the middle of the gate is going to be the main focus here, and we're going to get a chance to see Alexis Cody, who captured his elimination in what was another nice effort. But there's some other really nice trotters in here, and we're going to get a chance to see him and Periculum, who are going to get a chance to hook up yet again. Periculum was one of the ones who received a bye going to this final, and he's coming off a second-place qualifying effort to release the Hanover here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. But let's take a look at the Caesars Trotting Classic, because we got a chance to see a head-to-head matchup between Periculum and Lexus Cody. An effort that ended in a dead heat.
Yeah, in a fast time to boot. So, yeah, good tilt here that we're going to see. But, something, I think that in a small way that maybe Yannick has a bit of an advantage on Periculum going into this weekend. I think that this track, in my opinion, sets up for a horse like Lexus Cody better than it does for Periculum. And Periculum can get over any track, but I just think that if Lexus Cody gets on a breakaway on this track, he's going to be tough to haul back down again.
To me, Periculum, he looked much better in Lexington when he was able to score, but you could see in that dead heat victory, I thought off that trip he should have been an easier winner in my opinion, but I think that speaks volumes also just to how good Lexus Cody is, and we're going to get a chance to see his elimination victory because it was another sub 50 mile on Canadian soil for this guy, Randy, who we got a chance to see start off his career here, the Ontario Sire Stakes program. We're pretty proud to see this guy kind of elevate his game and become the trotter that he's become.
Oh, unbelievable horse, really is. Stunning looking, big body on him, you can tell he's going to be able to take the wars for a while, He's just a really nice horse, and talk about being on his game. I bet you anything, Yannick just absolutely loves the idea of jumping up behind this guy at any time, let alone right now when he's just on his game. He just looks like he'd be a fun horse to drive.
Over 1.5 million Canadian that he's made this year. It seems like Yannick can just do about just anything with him. It used to be a matter of if he runs, he'll lose. If he doesn't run, he'll win. He doesn't even think about going off stride right now, Randy. And, he's had a historic season, and he's looking to cap it off with a Breeders' Crown title as well.
And his manners look different. Before, remember, he'd get a little bit unruly once in a while and that. You never see that out of him anymore. He just looks like a horse that his mind has grew into him, his age, and his body has grew into his age, and it's all come together at the right time. And hopefully it keeps going till Saturday night, because he's one of the ones that I'm looking forward to the most.
6 straight wins for this son of Archangel, and he's got a great draw to work with it to make it 7 in a row as well. We're going to go to some sophomore pacing fillies, and again, we got a chance to see one Dexter Dunn and Chris Ryder, Superstar and Twinbee Joe Fresh in the open mare pace. Now we're going to get a chance to see a sophomore pacing filly who's another star, trained by Chris Ryder and driven by Dexter Dunn. That's the 5-horse Mickey and Minnie. She had a chance to get a bye, Randy. Chris Ryder elected to bypass that bye, but the filly who did take the bye or receive a bye was Rodeo Drive Dale, who's a Burke trainee who's going to start from post number 9. I think this filly really did need a bye though, Randy, because she was racing consecutively and she was in some tough races. But we're going to get a chance to see her Jugette final victory, and it was an easy score.
You know, up to this point, would you not have considered Rodeo Drive Dale to be the second best filly out there behind Mickey and Minnie?
Big time, yep.
Yeah, I would too. But after the elimination night, I'm not 100% sure if I would still look at this one as second best. Now, this is going to be a big effort, but again, this is back at the Jugette final. This is back in September the 17th. You know, she hasn't had a race since. Half-mile track, going to a big track now. Really looking forward to watching her and the Purple Man out there. But like I said, one really caught my attention the other night, John. That'd be that Irv Miller trainee.
Yep, Unreasonable was definitely one that I thought raced really well, and we're going to get a chance to see her second place effort. But the focus is going to be on this Chris Ryder trainee, Mickey and Minnie, who worked out a nice trip, but still put forth a good effort in a 1:48.2 score.
Yeah, a big effort here by them both. You know, first over with Mickey and Minnie, and it looked like Chantilly was just, you know, getting herself all puffed up to come up with a big effort there, but not really able to get the momentum that she seemed to need. But look at this Marcus Miller, and trust me, you're only seeing the back half of the race. You should have seen the first half of the race for him just to get into that position. This filly raced very good, as Mickey and Minnie as well.
And she's got another good draw to work with. Again, that's the perk of winning your elimination. You assure yourself of a very good draw, and with this filly's versatility, she's going to be awfully tough, and she's going to look to make it to back-to-back Breeders' Crown titles, and she definitely earned it as a rookie. She put everybody on notice as she entered her sophomore campaign. But a really nice group of sophomore pacing fillies going postward, but the focus is going to be on Dexter Dunn and Chris Ryder, who look to have a memorable weekend yet again. You know, this we can't wager on some of these events, Randy. At least we can make some side wagers from a personal standpoint. We can figure out some of the details off camera. But we're going to look at some host prop bets between the two of us, and we can
me going prop bets against you is like me stepping into the ring against Muhammad Ali.
No,
just let us get this straight now.
I think you've got some good ones here, and we're going to just kind of take a look here. And you could see right now we've got a host of categories here, but we're going to kick things off here with the 2-year-old lock. And Randy, I've got Luadeep as my 2-year-old lock for Friday night. You have Bojangles as your 2-year-old lock, and just curious to hear your rationale there with Bojangles. I know he's a perfect 11 for 11, but the waters are going to get deeper.
They are going to get a lot deeper, no doubt about that, but I still have not yet seen anybody that really scares me. I've seen a couple of horses that I really like, but nobody yet that scares me for the great one.
And for me, Luadeep, I mean, again, we talk about 2-year-old lock. We're not talking about who a best bet's going to be and who is going to be a short price winner. We're talking lock. Luadeep for me is an absolute lock to capture that 2-year-old pacing filly division. And for me, as well as Bojangles has raced, I do think there are some bigger competitors in his specific division as well as Luadeep, don't you think?
I think that you're onto something there. I think that, she's probably in a little bit easier, I guess, in the test of the waters. But I boil it down to this there, too. Even if Luadeep goes out and wins, my horse is going to win, too. Mm-hmm. So it's still going to be an even matchup.
We could tie.
I know Luadeep is going to win, but guess what, bud? Bojangles is going to win, too.
I think a lot of people are hoping that as well. And we're going to look at some value plays as well for the weekend. And our value play is going to be... yours value play is going to be Stormont Beautiful, and my value play is going to be On Air. I think Luadeep is obviously a lock to win, and On Air is going to be racing in that same final as her. But for me, I think that's the exacta. I think that's a value exacta right there. I love the way that this Noel Daly filly raced last time out. She was a solid 5th. I thought she took a step forward from maybe the start prior, and that's the exacta that I'm playing cold. Luadeep onto On Air to try and extract some value in what's going to be an awfully short favorite.
I don't have to go that far because I'm playing Stormont Beautiful probably right on the hammer. Yeah, I think that she needed the fast mile. I think she's got a good post to work with, and I think her momentum is as good as anybody's right now. So Stormont Beautiful is going to be my value.
I think the biggest thing is that even though she draws outside, we know she's got that early gate speed. So she doesn't have to get away towards the back of the pack if that's how the race shakes out. She's got versatility in her back pocket. And Bob left with her on Saturday night, and she still had enough late in the mile to make almost a big scare to Yo Tilly. So one that I think you're right is going to be a sleeper player as well, and what's going to be a wide open, could be a wide open final. We're going to look at some driver prop bets, though, Randy, some driver and trainer prop bets. We always speak about that it would be neat if we could somehow integrate this on a wagering menu and just kind of survey what the drivers line up on a nightly basis and actually make this a real wager. But over under on Dexter Dunn Breeders' Crown victories. I went over and you went under. What say you?
Well, I went under because I did a lot of these as a driver-wise. And for me, a driver to win, to beat that, he has to win 4 Breeders' Crowns. That's a lot. As great as Dexter is, as great as his lineup is, that's a lot. And quickly before we just do, this would be a great little thing for people sitting at home. Just take the John and the Randy off of it and do your own prop bets. What a great way to spend Friday and Saturday nights coming up with these. But yeah, I'm going to go under. I think that maybe 4 is a bit too much to ask.
I'm looking at Twinbee Joe Fresh as probably being a lock. You can make Mickey and Minnie a case. And then he's got Brandon Boulevard. He's got Irvin Hanover. He's got Super Chapter. I'm not sure who else he's got in terms of some of those other divisions, but he's got a pretty good lineup. So I think 2 for sure, and then he's got a chance to pick up another 2. So I think that for Dexter Dunn, who picked up, 6 last year? Mm-hmm. He's got a good chance. I think 4 is definitely within the realm of possibility. Now, in terms of the Ron Burke over-under prop bet, it's set at 4.5, and he's got a great lineup coming to this weekend. I think if he gets, I think he'll fall just short of that. I think, his ceiling probably is 4, I would say. But you like the over here.
Yeah, I'm going to go the over on him. He's loaded. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I've seen his, he's brought lots of horses before. He's brought lots of horses with depth, but never like this. This is like a juggernaut that he's brought across the border up here now. So I think the Burke Brigade is going to have a big Friday, Saturday.
And he's got a lot of, obviously finalists that are going postward that are going to have be awfully tough to beat. Look, we saw Lou Print just get picked off last time out. I'm going to go right back to him. I don't care where he draws. I think he'll bounce back in a big way in that final. And I think Lua Deep, again, she's my lock. So there's 2 for sure that I like. And, I think he's got a chance to pick up a couple more as well, but I'm going to go just under that 4.5 total for Ron Burke. Now there's an interesting prop bet between inside and middle of the gate. Who's going to pick up more Breeders' Crown victories from posts 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6? I'm going inside and you're going middle. Now, statistically, Randy, you're probably in the right.
Statistically, yes, but I'm still looking at this as a driver right now. And anytime that I had the opportunity to win elimination, pick a post, it was number 4. I just find that with number 4, it gives you the opportunity to see what's happening down on the inside and what's also going on the outside. And that's even picking up that 9 and the 10 if they happen to leave. So I think that the 4-hole, 5-hole, to me, have always been the 2 best post positions. 8
of the 15 elimination winners have won from either post 1 or post 2. So I feel pretty good with going with the inside 3. And when I look at how the draws shook out, Twinbee Joe Fresh has post 1. Diabolic Hill has post 3. Apex has post 1. I think those are the 2 main contenders in that, rookie trot division. And Spencer Hanover drew post 2. Not to mention Lua Deepa drew post 3. And we haven't even shaked out some of those other divisions, which we're going to be able to see tomorrow night at the live draw. So, again, I feel pretty good. And maybe off camera, we'll decide what the terms and conditions are.
One more prop bet. Does Sippin' on Sea Rock leave or go to the back?
I think leave. I have a feeling he'll be leaving.
What say you, Yannick Gingras?
Yeah, I have a feeling it'll be him leaving. So there's our thoughts on this Breeders' Crown preview show. Thanks for tuning in with us, and Randy and I will decide on the prop wager scores later on. But we hope you had fun watching this show, and we hope you have even more fun watching this weekend's action in the Breeders' Crown Finals.
and it's my show. Confederate comes after It's My Show. It's my show.
Confederate destroys them. Confederate dominates the Meadowlands pace.
On the inside, Cannibal wins the adios.
And Confederate draws cleared. It's all Confederate in the cane pace.
Johnny Walker Black Label. The same, with notes of sweet, smooth coffee, rich fruit, and a touch of smoke. Tastes as good as it sounds.
We're back in studio here as we get set for this Monday night program. We've got 12 on tap tonight. Randy and going to go straight through the plays of the night here, and let's look at your plays board on this Monday night program.
Okay, Worth a Look's going to come along in race number 5. That's going to be the Breather trainee from the 10 hole in this Harvest Series. That's going to be TH Trickster for Kids. Waples Watch, Aunt Gertrude in race number 6 for the team of Tony Hahn and Meg Crone. All in's going to be race 10. That's going to be the Dave Keys trainee Figment. Wow, this thing is special. And my beat the favorite is going to be Walk on the Moon in race 11 because first time in a long time for what, John?
No hobbles.
No hobbles for Walk on the Moon. So I'm going to take a chance with him.
Nice pick there. That's going to be a nice little value player, I'd say, on a horse that maybe hasn't been racing to form as of late. To my plays board here coming up, we're going to get a chance to see some of my thoughts. My best bet's going to be Flanagan Sunshine. Sunday Shoes is going to be tough to beat, but how sharp was Flanagan Sunshine last time out? Even from the outside, I'll be going all in on this guy. My value play is going to be Aunt Gertrude as well. I'm with you, Randy. That was a sneaky good effort last time out in a 5th place effort. My spot play, Victor Invictus. I think he's low enough. He draws well enough where he's going to be a main factor. And my triple up, HF Pan Shadow. How sharp has this guy been? He's going to look to make it 3 in a row as we close out this program. Going to look at some other resident handicappers' thoughts and selections as well. And Ghislaine Piquet, Devil's Arch, high expectations.
Agreed.
James McDonald back aboard. We could see some good things from this guy. Garnet Barnsdale in agreement with me going spot playing. Kevin Plouch as well. Value play going Aunt Gertrude. We're all in agreement there with that one. So he's going to be making his 2nd career start
Putting
here.
the pressure to Anthony Hahn, aren't we?
A lot of pressure.
Huh?
A lot of pressure. He's got
I'll
3 of
say.
us backing him in the spot. I'll tell you one thing though, Randy. I could go 0 for 12 tonight, and I would sleep like a baby, as long as the Blue Jays get the job done in Game 7. Lots of pressure there at the Rogers Center tonight. I'm hoping they get the job done.
Yeah, you got the pressure on you, no doubt about that. There, myself there, I'm not really caring who wins the ball game tonight, but I'm telling you, it's tough right now to get to sleep because all I keep thinking about is Breeders' Crown this and Breeders' Crown that, you know. Can't wait for this weekend to show up.
It really is, and it's just fun to see everybody. It's always great when we're the showcase, right? I mean, we don't get a chance to host it every year. The last time was, 4 years ago? So I think it's been a great showing in the eliminations, and if the eliminations were any indication of what we're going to see this coming weekend, we're in for a great showcase.
Absolutely, and just one quick shout out there, Abigail, do not believe everything that Danny tells you.
All right, so there. On that note, 20 minutes to go, or 18 minutes to go until race 1 here on this Monday night program. Randy and I will be with you all night long to take you through the action.